Welcome to Reiki Banashi, a podcast where we talk about Reiki in a simple and approachable way. I'm your host Innina, practitioner and Shihan teacher of Jikiden Reiki, and through this space I share thoughts and reflections with you. Today I have the great pleasure of welcoming Leanne Walters. Leanne is a Shihan of Jikiden Reiki with an extensive background not only in Reiki but also in various therapeutical practices and somatic healing, which we will explore together during this episode. She teaches, practices and offers treatments in London in the UK. I am delighted to share this conversation with you, so make yourself comfortable and let's get started. All right, and konbanwa. Good evening, Leanne. Yokoso.
Hello, Innina.
Welcome to Reiki Banashi. I'm very happy to have you with us today. And o genki desu ka? How are you?
I'm really good. I'm feeling a lot of gratitude. So firstly, I want to say thank you to you for asking me the questions that you're going to ask me, but prepping me first, because it's made me really stop and think. You know, usually I'm very goal orientated, always looking ahead, but actually the timing of this has aligned quite well with where I am at the moment. So just trying to slow down, reflect a little bit on my journey has been really, really nice actually, and it's given me a sense of, a renewed sense of meaning. I think just slowing down and looking back upon things and feeling grateful for the people in my life and for the journey of Reiki. So I hope that I can communicate that clearly today, because it's a long journey.
Oh, and I cannot wait for you to share it with us. This is really what this podcast is about, and I'm so grateful to you for accepting the invitation.
Yeah, and I'm grateful for you because you're answering the call of Reiki. This is spreading Reiki, isn't it? I mean, can you imagine if we had a podcast of Usui sensei talking, or, you know, back in those days? Can you imagine if we had that? But what you're doing is you're creating a log of all of these people that have had experiences, direct experiences with Reiki, and one day, you know, that's a great resource for people to look back and hear personal stories. So it's an amazing thing that you're doing. It's wonderful.
You know, I'm enjoying so much the process. So it's almost like effortless because I enjoy so much uh, hearing about the stories of people. And this is how it makes everything more wonderful, because putting light wherever I meet amazing people like you or people of our community, how can I not share that to the world, right?
Mm.
How can I keep that for myself? This is so wonderful. So that's, I think, the spirit of this podcast, I hope.
Yeah, and it's better. Well, not better. It's just different. It's nice to actually hear voices rather than read a book. Not everyone can read a book, or take the time to read a book. So it's nice to be able to actually hear and connect in this way. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you, Leanne. And yeah, just to give a bit of context. So we've met for the first time in March, I think, last year,
In
in
Margate.
Margate, exactly, in the UK for Amanda Jane's Okuden seminar at Helen's Place.
Was it
And
Jikiden? Yes.
yes, I
Yes, it
think.
was. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I
right. It
came to the
wasn't sure
day.
then. Exactly, exactly. And yeah, that was a wonderful seminar. And yeah, it was so great to also see the beautiful community there, and, you know, the moment that we shared together in the seminar and also off, you know, after the seminar. This really I carry in my heart.
Mm.
And yeah, I'm so grateful for that. And as if it wasn't enough, then later that year, we've met again in Eresos in
Yeah.
Greece. Yeah, we've spent time together with our Java, Frankar Java Petr's dojo for his last Jikiden Reiki seminar, which was such a deep and beautiful experience. Mm.
Yeah. Have you seen it? When I think of that, I keep saying to myself, the last of the she-hands. Of course, it's not the last of the she-hands, but the last of a Java's she-hands under Jikiden
Mm.
Reiki. And it makes me think of that film, The Last of the Mohicans. I don't know why, it just makes me laugh. But what a
Yeah,
time. That was an amazing time, wasn't it?
yeah,
Very privileged to experience that in that beautiful place as well.
yeah.
All
I
those
remember
amazing
you telling at some point, like, this is a historical moment. And I was like, she's so right, actually.
yeah.
The last of
And
the mo
when he gave the certificate to
Oh, to
that
Esther.
last, yeah, to Esther, the young girl, I could feel like the emotion in it because of his journey, right? It's
Yeah,
so long and so much in it to sort of not end it because it's a new journey, it's part of a new journey, but there's
yeah,
always beginnings and ends, isn't there? So yeah, it was really special to be a part of that.
yeah. Very much. It
Mm.
was deep, emotional, but delightful at the same time. And yeah, we could connect in such a incredibly profound way to each other, thanks to
Mm.
also what our Java create as a space, I guess, but
Yeah,
also the beautiful souls that were there. So that was a combination of wow, of
yeah,
wonderful.
yeah,
Mm,
very easy group to be in
mm.
because it's not always like that.
Yeah,
A very easy
exactly.
group, a very mature group, grounded.
Mm,
It was fun, and I think the thing that I enjoyed, not the most, because there were so many aspects of it, but just the community, eating together, the
mm,
conversations that I had in between. I think
yeah,
that's what really makes it rich.
yeah,
The teaching itself, of course, and the practice, but just the community that comes out of the practice of Reiki, especially in the sun and with
mm.
beautiful food, it makes a difference.
And the sea, the amazing place, this
Yeah,
island is magical as well, right?
special.
So
Mm.
yeah, we were quite lucky to spend that special time together. Mm.
Yeah,
And yeah, so Leanne, you are a Jikiden Reiki Shihan, so a
I
teacher.
am. Wow.
And also, so correct me if I'm wrong, a somatic healing and bodywork practitioner, right? So
Yes.
we will definitely come back to that later. And so you practice, you give treatments, and you teach mainly in London, right?
Yeah, only in London.
London in the UK, just for
Mhm.
who's overseas, and there's a
For
few
now, I mean, who
Londons.
knows? Maybe I'll travel. But
Exactly.
for now, I'm very rooted in
In
Shooters Hill in London, southeast London.
Okay, Southeast London. All right. So, to begin with, if you're happy to do so, could you share your Reiki journey with us?
I'm
How
going
did
to
you
try to
first come?
condense it.
Yeah, well, what comes first and what you think are the highlights that you want
The
to
highlights.
share. Yeah, yeah. And mainly also what drew you into the practice. This is also something that makes me curious.
Well, it's drawn me at various times in my life to different degrees. It's hard for me to remember a time when Reiki wasn't in my life. I'm the latter half of the century now, so I do have a story to tell. So to condense it into into an hour, I'll try my best. So Reiki, well, I always had a sense that there was something greater than this little self, something
Mm,
bigger that wants to move through us from very young. And I
mm,
remember being a child, probably around about 7. I was lucky enough to grow up in a household, quite a matriarchal household with lots of women, intuitive women that are dreamers. My sister's a healer as well. My mum and my nan were both quite intuitive people. And we also very much in our family system was this idea of service, this idea of caring for others. So I kind of grew up with that, and also grew up with this idea that there's more than our minds can explain. So my mum had lots of books around the house, Explain the Unexplained. So that was the kind of setting that I grew up in, very open-minded, very connected. So, I mean, I was talking to my sister the other day, I'd forgotten this, but when I was telling her that I was coming to do this podcast, she said to me, "Do you remember when we were little, Leanne, and we used to practice healing?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Yeah." She's older than me, my sister, a couple of years older. And she said, "Yeah, we used to lay on hands and pretend to heal each other." But of course, you know, I'd forgotten that. I'd forgotten that experience. But what I did remember is that I used to draw this picture over and over and over again, and it was like a straight road. And at the end of it, there used to be these, let me put my cup down, these cupped hands like this, with fire coming out or energy coming out. And it was always, you know, when you see a straight road and then there's a sunset at the end.
Yeah.
There's always like the straight road, these hands, this energy, and then the sun. So it was almost like Reiki, if you like, was calling, was always calling, was always there in some form. So yeah, that was when I was young. So very open to these things naturally, open to kind of spiritual experiences. I was always kind of interested in that, even as a teenager. So that was the first encounter thinking about Reiki or thinking about energy in the hands. Then when I was about 16, I left home quite young. I was quite wild. It was the early 90s and it was the rave scene and there was lots of free parties. I was leading I would say quite a hedonistic lifestyle, quite free-spirited. I was interested in a lot of new age ideas. I don't know how old you were at that time, but in the early 90s, there was a lot of spiritual ideas around. I had plaits in my hair and was a bit of a hippie. And I was going to all of these parties, experiencing life, but I was also working in a unit for people with challenging behaviour and learning disabilities. So at the weekends I'd be partying, and then during the week I'd left home, but this was like my family. I was working with these people that were quite challenged. And learning what it was to sort of be a grown-up, learning how to cook, learning how to care for people. And one day on my way to work, now this is how I remember it. It was a long time ago. I think it was in the 1997, I think. I was working there and I'd just come out of quite a violent relationship, actually. And that relationship kind of shifted me from happy-go-lucky into starting to go inwards to kind of address some of the difficult things that I'd experienced. So that happened alongside me having this experience in the woods one day. So I'm walking to work and I used to have to go through through a place called Oxley's Woods up to the place where I used to work.
Okay.
And this is how I remember it. This woman appeared. It feels to me like she just appeared, but obviously she was walking in the woods. And she just came up to me and said, "Oh, you've got healing hands." And it was such an unusual sort of thing to do. But I was the kind of person I was then. I was quite open to that anyway. I'd just talk to anyone all the time.
But out of the blue, she would just like mention that.
I mean, that's how I remember it. But sometimes we embellish memories, don't we? So I just remember this woman appearing, and she was a bit, I would say, I think she had plaits in her hair as well, randomly, so did I. And very colourful clothes. And she looked sort of quite free-spirited herself. And she said this to me, and I said, "Oh, that's interesting." And then she sort of said goodbye, and that was it. So I went into work and I told a friend of mine about this experience, and he happened to be an older gentleman who has always been a lifelong, I guess, like a teacher and friend to me. He studied transcendental meditation for 20 years, and he was very peaceful and very calm. And I told him what happened, and it just so happened he'd done a Reiki course.
Ah.
And I didn't go on the course, but I was interested. And he said to me, just lay your hands on people, just try it. So I did. So I'm, how old am I now? 18, 19? So I'm just laying my hands on people. If they've got a headache, I'm saying, let me have a go. And it was all fun. I even tried, there was a budgie in one of my clients, one of my clients had a budgie, and it had a tumor on its head. And I thought, I'm going to try and Reiki this tumor. So every day when I went into work, I'm putting my hands against the budgie's cage like this. And the tumor actually reduced.
Oh.
But the budgie died.
Oh.
So I know it's not funny, but I always had this question: did I reduce the tumor, or did I help the budgie go into a nice peaceful passing? I don't know. But anyway, I started to experiment and lay on hands in for all kinds of different minor ailments. And it was quite exciting because people would say to me, "Oh, my headache's gone," or "Oh, I had an ache there and it's gone." So this was actually, obviously that was the first time I'd heard of Reiki. So I was just kind of using it in not on myself, but on other people's, but it was more for fun. I wasn't really taking it seriously, you know. So that's two occasions. Now the third time that I came across it was a few years later. It was 2012, I think. No, it wasn't. Hold on, let me think. No, I have to rewind a little bit. 1999, my life changed massively. My mum became very sick. She had complete organ failure and she developed pneumonia, was in intensive care for 4 months, and later for another, was it 4 months in intensive care, and then another 6 months on the wards. So my life changed in that moment. I was single, I didn't have children at the time, and I went from being quite free outside, partying, just living life and exploring, to just spending all my time with her in the hospital. And I really started to go quite deeply inwards then. I was having, I would say, spontaneous spiritual experiences alongside my grief, fear, and anxiety. I had experiences within the church and also within New Age healing circles. So that I was having lots of things happen at the same time that my mum was going through this illness. And as well as prayer and laying on hands, I did actually use that with her when she was in intensive care and when she was in the hospital. So I used it as a way of soothing myself and soothing her in a way. And I know I can't say whether it had an effect on her physical health at the time, because her health was she was so very unwell. There was lots of things going on, obviously, in intensive care. But what happened at that time was it inspired me to do my nurse training. So from that experience, it just so happened that the trust that I was working for was offering a program called Program 2000, and it was free nurse training for support workers. So because I was already working for the trust, they paid for me to do my nurse training. So that had never really been on the agenda for me. I never wanted to be a nurse. I always wanted to travel, really, and enjoy life and not really be curtailed by any particular 9 to 5 job or any system. I was quite rebellious, really. I wanted to be free. But life had something different planned for me. So I became a nurse, and I learned massage. and it was with the massage and the connecting through touch started to shape my journey. So I would be working with these very challenging people alongside my mum being unwell, and I didn't want to use injections. I didn't want to sedate people, and I found that if I gave a foot massage or a hand massage and I was calm, then they would be calmer, and I wouldn't have to use antipsychotic medication that I didn't really like using. So I found that massage and connecting through touch was a really good tool for me. And it was through that path that I found Reiki, because when I qualified as a nurse, I didn't really want to stay in that kind of environment. I felt like there were other ways to work with people. I started to become, because of my mum's journey through prayer and optimism and just having a lot of faith as a human being, I realized that there's more to health than just conventional allopathic medicine, although I have a huge respect for that as well. I felt there was something more that I could look into and something more that I could offer. So I started to really look at all kinds of healing methods. And I was at Greenwich University doing a degree in complementary therapies, and one of the courses that was offered was clinical massage. So while I was there, this is after I'd qualified, so this is about 2004 now.
Yeah.
And there was one day I went in to do what I thought was just going to be my massage course training. And there was a lady there called Fran Rawlings. And I went in and all the tables were set out. There's all these massage tables set out and a screen. And she said, we're going to do something different today. And I was like, oh, she said, pair up. So I paired up with this guy that I was doing the training with called Mikao, and she called us in one by one behind this screen and did an attunement. And then told us to lay on hands in these various different hand positions. And I thought, oh, wow, this is interesting, because I'd remembered, obviously, years earlier where I'd connected with Reiki at the place that I used to work and was laying on hands. So it renewed an interest for me. And I can't remember too much of the process, although I do remember we sort of gave a treatment and received a treatment, I think, with the Western style of Reiki, hands above the body.
Right. Okay. Without touching.
It wasn't touching. No, it was. So she was obviously a Western trained teacher. So this was 2004. And I remember leaving there and going home to my mum, because I'd moved back in with my mum at this point, because she was physically disabled and couldn't really, not that she couldn't, but I chose to be with her and live with her and support her at that time. So I went back home and I said to her, I felt really peaceful, and I felt really like I was in an expanded state. And it reminded me of the state that I'd had a few years previous, where I had a mystical experience. Now, the reason why I'm comparing these two is because there's something similar about these two experiences to Usui's experience on the mountain.
Right. Okay.
The only difference with me is I didn't stay in that experience. I came very much back down to my human self. But I had a moment in 1997 where I was taken out of my body, if you like. And all I could see was the earth. And I didn't have a body. But I remember just having this real sense of love, and it was coming in waves, and I could hear this sound, this sort of primordial sound. I can't even describe it fully, but it had such an impact on my body. I had such a somatic experience of that that I can remember the experience, but words aren't really good enough. But it was, I guess, what we would call a satori, a moment of seeing yourself as something much more than the personality, the small self. And the reason why I'm going back to that is because it is relevant to the story later on.
Sure,
But
sure, absolutely.
that experience had such a strong somatic effect on me that when life is difficult, I can revisit it. I can go back to it on some level and sense into it a little bit.
Yeah.
So I had that experience at the same time as my mum had a near-death experience. So I don't know if you've heard about near-death experiences, but she came back from this experience. I mean, she was always quite, I guess, an optimistic person and positive, but she came back from this almost like fearless. That was my experience of her. She had, even though she'd lost her hair, she couldn't walk. She was physically disabled, housebound, unless I took her out or unless family members took her out. She had a joy in her spirit, a joy in her body. And she was very containing. So even though I was caring for her physically, she was definitely my emotional container and my spiritual container during that time. So I had this kind of mystical experience. She had this near-death experience, and we were kind of walking this journey together. So when I came back from this Reiki experience, I was able to explain that to her, and it reminded me of this kind of these two worlds, if you like, that she was walking in and I was walking in. She was probably in it a bit more consistently than me because her experience was so profound. Whereas mine, I felt like I shifted in and out with the day-to-day running of life and, you know, working and trying to manage a household and trying to care at the same time. So I came back from that experience and did a little bit of Reiki here and there, but that sparked more training. So I went on to train in other forms of bodywork, which I think we're going to come back to later. And the next time I found Reiki was when my mum passed in 2012. So we'd had this long journey together. She'd been given 2 years to live in 2000, but actually lived until 2012. And I believe it was her faith and prayer and Reiki and healing and lots of things that kept her going, as well as medicine. So when she passed, I felt like I started to think about Reiki strongly because I felt like I needed something. I was at a point in my life where I was physically very stressed now. So it'd been a long journey. When you're grieving while somebody's still alive, it's a long journey. And even though it was profound in so many ways, it took its toll on my body. So I was working as a nurse. I had 2 children at the time. I think I was running about 20 to 30 miles a week. I was like nursing full time. I was quite underweight. And I felt like I wanted something for myself because my mum passing, because I used to see her 3 times a week. And she was, I guess, almost like my life partner at the time. We were very, very close. So it opened up a huge space for me. And it was, you know, you have those moments in life where you mark time. Well, this is obviously one of them. And I started to think about Reiki, and I looked it up this time. So all the other times it just appeared, but this time I intentionally looked for somebody, and I found a lady that lived up the road from me, an Irish lady called Doris. And I went to her and learned Reiki 1. And I remember the first day leaving that seminar with a huge headache and thinking, oh, I'm not going to go back. I'm not going back. This is awful. But even though I enjoyed the teaching, I just felt so uncomfortable and so like this headache was absolutely killing me. And I nearly didn't go back. Of course, later on I learned that that was the toxins probably in my head that I was experiencing. And I did go back and I learned Reiki 1 and 2 and 3, and became a Western Reiki. They call it master, don't they? We don't in
Right.
Reiki,
Yeah.
a Western Reiki master. And I by that time, Reiki for me was about, it was for me really. I was using it to soothe.
Yeah.
My nervous system was probably quite frazzled at that point. So I needed to do a lot of kind of self healing. I needed to rest really. So I was using it on myself. But the kind of person I am, I'm still very much, no, I want to go forward. So I was still working in the NHS at the time, and I've always been quite passionate about sharing. You know, when you get something, you want to share it. And I've always had that, sometimes a little bit evangelical, but sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. But I was quite evangelical about Reiki. And I remember working within the NHS, and I really started to promote it there. And my friend Doris, and teacher at the time, she taught to other ladies that I knew, because I couldn't teach it. I think this was before I did the teachers training. She taught some of the carers alongside me that I worked with, because I'd encouraged them to go and see her. So I was working as a nurse and still learning to be the Reiki teacher with her. And we set up what I called Sensoma. I think it was called Sensoma healing sessions, where they started to practice Reiki and I started to teach basic hand and foot massage. And it was something that it just kind of spread. So all of a sudden, my manager at the time was really supportive, and she said to me, "Why don't you do an event?" And I was like, "That's a good idea." So I managed to get 12 therapists, and I think six of them were Reiki therapists. My sister came along. My old teacher that taught me clinical massage at Greenwich University came along. Another 2 people that I'd learnt Reiki to with another guy called Morris. So I had Morris and Doris, 2 Reiki teachers, very different, but gave me different things. They were there. So we had this wonderful event within the NHS on these grounds, giving Reiki and massage, and they were like not shipping, or bringing busloads of people in from the large mental health units up in Bexley and all the different learning disability homes. We're bringing these people in, and we had all of these sort of tents, and everyone was receiving Reiki, and it was amazing.
Wow.
And off the back of that, every time there was an event, they would say, "Oh, can you come and do Reiki?" So we had an event at the O2. I don't know if you know the O2 in London.
No.
The O2 in Greenwich. Then we did an event there. So we had carers giving Reiki, and people were queuing up for it. And what we were doing at the time was just basic hand positions on the head. So we would have people queuing up, sitting down, and we were just doing Reiki on the head. And then I started to be invited to do talks on Reiki. So it just kind of went a bit mad, really. I didn't expect that to happen at all. And
I hear that.
yeah, and as a result, I was asked to do sort of talks on it, which is really my biggest public speaking. Is like, I really don't want to do that. And I remember once being asked to do a little talk for some occupational therapists, and I thought, oh, I'll go along, that's fine. And I brought some Reiki friends with me. And when I got there, instead of I thought it'd be like a group of 5 or 6 people, there was about 150 people in this room. And I was like, and I remember saying to my teacher, I remember saying to my Reiki teacher, "I'm not doing it. I can't do it. I can't do it." She went, "Yes, you can. Yes, you can." Because I'm not doing it. I was like, "Oh my God, I can't do it." Anyway, it was fine. It was fine. It was really nice. And that's how I started to get students. Because my teacher trained me, and I started to get lots of students. from that.
Mm.
And then I guess the next question is how I came to Jikiden, all right?
Yeah, it's mainly how you, because you studied obviously different styles of Reiki, right? So
Hmm.
it's what brought you to Jikiden Reiki, and I don't know if right now you still teach both styles, or do you still exclusively Jikiden, right?
Exclusively Jikiden.
Right. Okay. So that what led you to that choice mainly? So that's what I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting story because what was happening is whilst I really loved practicing Western Reiki, and
Mm,
I fully believe it was a magical, amazing time, and I would never claim that one is better than the other in
of
terms of the
course.
treatment ever, because
Mm,
it did. I witnessed it do so much on myself and in this NHS, in the space that I was in. So, and I know
oh,
that was meant to
Leanne,
be.
just for who doesn't know what is NHS, for
Oh,
example, because
sorry,
we have so many
National Health
different
Service.
nationalities.
So I was in the National Health Service for
Oh,
about
right. Okay.
20 plus years. So
Perfect.
that's, yeah. Um, so I really enjoyed that. But when I had to teach it, I felt I
Mm,
got a bit stuck, really.
mm,
Only in the sense that I had to make my own manual.
right.
Um, and I didn't doubt my teachers,
Mm,
but I didn't have a sense that I had a community behind me. It wasn't something that um I couldn't trace the lineage, if you like.
right.
I wasn't sure what was Reiki and what was me sort of adding stuff, because I used to do things that weren't what I was taught. So because I was a massage therapist, I wanted to put
Mm,
my hands on the body. So I did put my hands on the body. So
yeah.
when I came to teach it, and I'm thinking, well, I'm not practicing in the same way that I'm teaching. What am
Mm,
I actually teaching? What is Reiki? And because I was open to a lot of the new age ideas at the time.
yeah.
I I had an interest in chakras, for example, but I
Mm,
wasn't deeply knowledgeable in them. So,
mm,
and part of this was taught within the Western Reiki. And when I used to teach the seminars, I used to think, well, I don't really, this doesn't feel to me like embodied knowledge. It felt
mm,
like head knowledge.
mhm.
Whereas I know my hands, I've always felt and always believed that human beings have an ability to share and give through the hands. It felt so natural. I don't think it's something that is too far from anyone, really, in the way we
Yeah.
care for our children, for example, or we care for somebody that's sick. We lay on hands on ourselves, on each other. So that felt really natural. So I was doing these things that came naturally, and that felt embodied, and I felt like that's fine, I can teach that 100%.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
trust it and I believe it and I know it. But then when it came to the other stuff, I was like, yeah, I'm teaching from my head here. For
Mm,
example, I'm teaching about the chakra system, which in itself
mm,
doesn't come from Japan and
yeah.
is a deep system of knowledge that some people really do embody and really know deeply. I mean, there's something like 72,000 nadis, like these energy maps that are on the body, and I didn't know that. I
Mm,
have a sense that there is lots of different energy maps that we put onto the body and that intuitively we can tune in. I trust that.
mm,
But to teach it, I didn't feel confident.
right.
So I was starting to have this question anyway, and I was reading, like you can't see from here, but I've got probably every Reiki book that you can imagine on my shelf.
I can
So
imagine that.
yeah, so I was starting to read and read and read, and then every seminar that I would do within Western Reiki, I was sort of adding a bit, tweaking a bit.
Mm.
Um, so I didn't intentionally seek out Jikiden Reiki. What happened was I had a dream.
Oh.
And this dream was now, so my mum's passed. It was 2000 and must have been the end of 2018.
Mm.
Because I think I trained with Amanda in 2019, not long after. But the dream was I was in a room
Mm.
And all I remember is this young Japanese lady wearing black and a white collar and hair parted in the middle, very young, coming up to me. And she made me put my hands together in Gasho.
Mm.
And she bowed to me and I bowed to her. And in the dream, I remember having a real sense of peace,
Mm.
purpose. I can't remember anything else, but I remember waking up feeling really excited about Reiki again. I was like, well, wow, that was amazing. It felt, like some dreams feel like just a mixture of what you've perceived in the day or something you've watched on the telly. This felt like a tangible meeting with somebody.
Mm.
So I go online and I start to look up Japanese Reiki, and I come across Amanda Jane, and straight away I booked the seminar. But I also went on to online and ordered 2 books after I'd found Amanda Jane. And these 2 books that I ordered, I've got them here to remind everyone.
Yeah.
Light on the Origins of Reiki by Tadao, Yamaguchi, and Reiki in
Reiki in
Japan.
Japan. Mm.
So when they arrived, literally within 3 or 4 days, and I read both books within a week, I think. And the interesting thing was, when the books arrived, I realised that this one's edited by Amanda
Amanda.
Jane.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I was like, oh, that's so weird. I mean, I didn't think it was weird because this kind of stuff happens all the time, right?
Of
But I
course.
I just thought, wow, okay, that's meant to be. And then this one,
Mm.
this is just the thing. I opened up and started to read, and on page 30, that's the woman in my dream.
No, this is incredible, Leanne.
That's the woman in my dream. So I realized that Chioko had come to me in a dream. And it was so amazing because when I went to see Amanda and the way Amanda spoke about Chioko,
Mm.
I knew that I was in the right space, because the way that she spoke about Chioko was similar to the way that I spoke about my mum. It
Mm.
that connection, that really simple, I don't know, like my mum used to make somebody feel better over a cup of tea. She
Mm.
wasn't necessarily into any particular healing art, but you'd go and be in her presence and feel better. That was my experience, and the experience of a lot of other people as well.
Yeah.
So when I met Amanda, I think her passion for Japan and Reiki came over in the first seminar, but also the authenticity and integrity of the teaching in terms of the lineage, and
Mm.
teaching Reiki within its historical and social context. I think that was what grabs me, and I thought, okay, this is real. I can go with this. I can,
Mm.
not only do I believe it, it feels grounded, and I felt like immediately I was in the right place.
Mm.
Um, but then, of course, I had this dilemma because I still had students that wanted to do Reiki, and I was like, oh, I really want to push ahead. And it was really, it was a good lesson for me, because actually I
Mm.
didn't need to push ahead. I needed to slow down.
Yeah.
And it was, Amanda's so patient, isn't she? She's so good. And she's such a great teacher and such a, grounded human being, that it was really grounding for me to be around and have a teacher like her.
Mm.
So yeah, that's how I found Jikiden Reiki. So I informed all my ex-students that I was now doing Jikiden, and I
Mm.
gave them the opportunity in latter years when I became a teacher to do Shihan Kaku, and some of them have. My sister has trained with the Western style and done Jikiden with me, and
Mm.
also my best friend has
Mm.
trained in both styles. So a few of them have come back to do the Jikiden just because of how I've sold it to them, really. And I think because of that, and because I think my loyalty to Amanda, when you have a teacher, you don't kind of want to
Yeah.
deviate. I think that I've stuck with Jikiden Reiki. But I do feel that we all bring our own flavor to it, which is okay.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have that real strong lineage and evidence of that history
Yeah.
to really ground your students. So yeah, that's how I found Jikiden Reiki, and I've stayed with it.
It started with a dream. This is
Started with
incredible.
a dream, yeah.
And it really
Yeah.
guided you through.
Yeah. When I opened that book, I was like,
This is
when you're excited, but
incredible.
there's no one there to tell. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
We know that kind of things, but when we have, this kind of confirmations, it's just amazing, right?
Well, I was really shocked when I heard Helen's story, because I don't know, well, you do know, Helen and I are really close. We did Shihankaku together with Amanda. And when I saw that she dreamt about Kyoko Sensei, I was like,
With this.
wow. And there's some parallel things in our lives, me and Helen,
Mm,
just in the sense of our past experience, her experiences in India, mine in Israel and Egypt, and then
mm,
coming into Reiki around about the same time, being mothers and balancing Reiki with family life. We're really close.
yeah.
But it was another layer when I heard that she dreamt about Kyoko as well. It made me feel connected on another level. It was really nice to hear that.
It's wonderful. When you were just telling me about this dream, I was only thinking, oh, this is Helen had
Yeah,
also a dream about her. But I
yeah.
was, yeah, I try not to talk about other people in a podcast about you. But of course, it connects because you know each other as well.
Yeah. That's another reason to be thankful to
Mm,
Reiki and to Amanda, really, because
mm,
that's a special friend that I've got there.
yeah,
Yeah.
what a beautiful community there,
Yeah.
huh? You just
Yeah.
mentioned your mothers as well, like so that's another point I wanted to talk about if you're happy to do so.
Mm.
Uh, you have I know you have a beautiful family. You're a mother of two, right?
Three, three.
Three, sorry. Three.
Well, my oldest one's 20 now, so
Oh yeah.
she's not a baby anymore. Then I have a 14-year-old and a 9-year-old.
Right. Wow, beautiful. And so I'm always curious when I know someone is teaching Reiki or practicing Reiki if they use it on for their children and if Reiki supports your family in everyday life.
Yes, I mean, I would say from birth, I've used Reiki on all of them as children. So mainly to soothe.
Mm.
Um, I am lucky in that they didn't have any health complications as children, really. So, and probably because I'm a nurse, they literally would have to be dying before I took them to the doctor, probably. They always make a joke, Mum, whenever we're ill, all you say is drink water and have a cuddle. Um, so no, but I am lucky they've got quite good genes and haven't been unwell. But I
Mm,
have used it as first aid. So
mm,
my son knows Gyoshi Kokai. I've used it with him, and he knows the Gokai. My oldest daughter did train in Reiki when she was
mm,
in Western Reiki when she was 7, I think, 7 or 8.
mm.
Um, I've used it to help them sleep. Do you remember those? I don't know if the car seats when they were very little. I used to put the car
Yeah,
seat on
yeah,
my lap,
yeah.
and they'd be in there, and I would put my hands on their heads and just rock them. So I've always used Reiki, and that mixed with a strong belief in touch. I think
Mm.
I've always used it with them, and they've always, as youngsters, believed it. When they get older, they come away and start to develop their own ideas a little bit, and probably what mum does isn't so cool anymore. But recently, both of them actually on Mother's Day came in and said, you know, when we're out and about, we always promote what you do. And I said, really? Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. My oldest daughter said to me not long ago, I gave her a little bit of a massage and she went, you should do this for a living. And I said, Shivani, I've been doing that for 20 years. So yeah, I have always used it with my family.
Mm,
And I can't remember a time, I think twice my two girls have had antibiotics in their life. My
mm,
son never. Um, so that's a mixture, I think, of having good genes, using Reiki, trying to
yeah.
live healthy, and lots of love, because love is the best medicine, right? Love and hugs. In fact, my son will say whenever I say I've got to teach Reiki, um, Bodhi, my son's, he will say things like, and he said to me once, "But I thought you just have to put the love in your hands." I was, well, that is true. That is true. But it takes me 3 days to get to that point.
Exactly. Oh, how wonderful. Yeah, you know, I think we tend to have this idea of Reiki as something that you have to do in a certain way. Maybe you need a massage table and you have to do it in a certain way so that
Mm,
it doesn't work for children because they cannot stand for half an like I don't know, an hour or so. And I love to break that idea because of course that's not how it works, right? When you're a mother, when you use Reiki, it's not in this setting of official treatment, right?
mm.
Mm.
Exactly. I mean, for years I didn't have a room with a dedicated massage table in it. That's only really in the last few years I've been lucky enough to have this space that I'm in
Mm.
now. So yeah, it's been very much wherever you can give it. Even when I was nursing, it would be in the most uncomfortable places
Mm.
at times that you would just lay hands on.
Yeah.
I remember once we were at this I was at this event actually, and I was showing, it was in a library, and there was no, it wasn't like an attractive place at all. There was all these corporate people um in their suits, and I just had this little table and chair, and I think I'd just left nursing, and I was still working alongside the NHS with Mind mental health charity, and
Mm.
we were promoting it through that avenue. And I was giving Reiki all day to different people, and there was this old man sitting at the end of where my table was set next to mine.
Mm.
So I had my table and chair, and then he was sat there all day, and he was moaning, but out loud. He was like, "Oh, this is rubbish. What does she think she's doing?" But he was saying it out loud. And I was
Oh.
thinking, what shall I do? Shall I just ignore him? And so I'm giving Reiki to all these people, and I could hear him like this. Oh, it's nonsense, rubbish, isn't it? So at the end of the day, when the queues had gone down and there was more space, and he was still there, I think he was elderly, and his partner or whoever he was with was taking part in the conference. And I said to him, "Would you like to try?"
Mm.
And reluctantly, well, I think he must have wanted it because he's literally sat next to me all day.
Yeah,
Reluctantly, yeah, he
actually.
came along, and within 3 minutes or so he was asleep. And then when he came out of it, he had tears in his eyes. He went, "That's the best thing I've ever experienced in my life."
But that's
That was a reminder. That
wonderful.
was a reminder to trust
Yeah,
the process.
yeah.
That we don't need to be in a, I mean, it helps. It's lovely because
Mm.
when you're working with people, it helps to have a nice, calm space. It helps to be calm because we're regulating the nervous system, and in our society, there's a lot of stressed people. So obviously that helps. But Reiki is powerful. It works in ugly places. It works in uncomfortable environments.
It works everywhere.
Works everywhere. Yeah. Works everywhere.
Wonderful. And it's crazy also to think that this person stayed mourning, negatively for all this time, but stayed for this whole
I
time. So
know.
it means that
So,
he was attracted by like there was something calling
yeah,
him to do it.
he was having this inner conflict all day,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
just
You
needed
had
to
to
be
ex
asked.
You had to witness that.
Yeah, yeah, it was funny. It's a good lesson for me as well to just stay in the space and not be too deterred by what's happening around you, you know.
Yeah,
We need more of that these days, don't we? To
yeah.
need to be calm in the midst of the storm.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Mm.
Oh, I wanted to ask you a question. It was actually before, but then we went into into the flow. You talked about this Satori moment. You know, you had this moment once when you were very young, and then you felt that kind of taste again during the attunement, right? The first
Mm.
time that you had it, I guess, um, during the first training that you
Yeah,
just said,
yeah.
right?
At the
Uh,
university, yeah.
exactly that one. And but was there any other moment when Reiki had a particularly profound impact on you, either personally or spiritually? Again, like some kind of Satori moment, or even maybe you experienced that through um, sessions that you offered to others.
Innina, there's so many.
Yeah.
There are so many. It's tempting, isn't it, to talk about the experiences that are really kind of otherworldly,
Mm,
because they are the really, I guess, exciting,
mm,
powerful experiences. And I could tell of many of those.
mm,
But when I thought about this question before the seminar, I was really thinking about it, and I think the most profound effect, just because of the long-term effect it's had on me, is just working with people
yeah.
every single treatment, because I've got a really active mind, a creative mind. But when I do and give Reiki,
Mm,
I feel I can immediately, not immediately, but most of the time, I can very quickly go back to that somatic experience that I had. And
mm,
it's almost like you move out the way
yeah.
and you're there. And it just allows for another level of stillness, another level of quietness, and it helps me not only with the client, because I remove myself and my agenda out of the way. Don't forget, as a nurse, we assess, plan, we implement, we review based on our nursing knowledge. And this is the arts, sorry, this is the science
Yeah.
of nursing. But we learn the arts, we learn how to be intuitive, we learn to listen deeply,
Mm,
we learn about the quality of touch, we learn about tone of voice, pitch of voice. We
mm,
learn how to through Reiki, we learn how to regulate our own nervous system. So there's a wonderful co-regulation that happens between you and your clients. And because of that,
yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm the person that is disciplined to meditate all of the time in my youth. I've always wanted to go where the fun is. So Reiki for me has been my practice. It's been my mindfulness practice that has literally got me through life and through the difficult times, through grief,
Mm,
through loss, and there's been a lot of it. So that's been the most profound thing for me, being with clients, having that real stillness that has translated into other areas of my life.
mm, yeah.
I will say one more thing on that. There was one time when I was doing these events, and I'm just trying to think. My mum had passed, and I was giving Reiki to a lady. We were doing these free events for carers. We did them for 5 years, and
Mm,
these were a space where carers of people with profound physical disabilities or mental health issues
mm,
could come along and receive complementary therapies. And Reiki became part of that. Initially, nobody knew about it, but Reiki became a big part of it. So I was able to, lucky enough, to be able to use an NHS building and teach the carers
mm,
Reiki. And I remember one point don't forget, I'd worked in these buildings since I was 18, so I've
Yeah.
got a long history as a nurse, as a carer, as a nurse, and now I'm a Reiki practitioner. And I looked to the left of me, and there were 5 massage tables, and on these tables were all elderly women of a complete different generation to me, but all had such difficult experiences of being carers. They had the weight of that in their physical bodies, physical illnesses, chronic heart conditions. You know, caring takes its toll.
Yeah.
And they had that. And when I looked around and saw them giving Reiki, I felt good. I felt, this is really of value. I'm doing something of value. I'm doing something that means something. And it wasn't in a superficial way.
No.
We all like to show off sometimes. But it felt really meaningful to me. It felt really beautiful, and I felt really grateful for Reiki, even for my journey as a carer and the difficult times, and what Reiki gave to me through that experience, how I learned to regulate my own system with certain health choices, with the practices that I was using on myself and others, I believe prevented my own body from going into dis-ease, if you like. So it felt like quite a profound moment to see that for those ladies. And they were also getting peer supervision with each other. And it was, you know, cost effective. They would meet together, and it was positive. We weren't trying to change health outcomes. We weren't even trying to change their lives. What we were doing is just creating a space, a container. And that was enough. And then we didn't have to have an agenda outside of that. That was enough. Yeah. So that was quite profound, I would say.
And that's so powerful, to see that circle created, and this support that is created out of this practice. And yeah, it's wonderful, especially for caregivers as well, right? It's that's something else.
Yeah, because there's a lot of, sometimes, I mean, it's not easy being sick, but it's not easy watching people that you love become sick and witness that, because you feel helpless. And then if you're healthy yourself, there's what we know as survivor's guilt. Can creep in, you know, why am I so healthy when everyone else around me is sick? It's not an easy journey to be a carer, and it takes its toll. And I think that Reiki helped me to turn that experience into something good.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And I would love also to talk about, of course, you did Reiki, but you talk also about somatic healing, right? And body work. So maybe for those who are not so familiar, could you maybe briefly explain what your practice involves and how it can support the healing process?
Yes. So, well, let's take the word Sensoma. That's the name of my business.
Yeah.
When I came up with that name, it was in the early 90s when I was doing a massage course, and I thought I made the word up. Because there was a shop called Orasoma, and it sold these beautiful little bottles. And I saw the name, because we had to make up this name for a business. And I thought, what could I call my business? I knew that Soma meant body. So I just thought Sen as in the senses, Sen Soma. So I made up that name. I thought I was pretty clever. And it wasn't until I went to Thailand that actually I realized within Thai medicine, the Sen lines are the energy lines.
Yeah.
So when I went to Thailand and I realized, I was like, Sensoma literally is the energy and the body. Yeah. So essentially what I do is I work with the body and I work with energy. And I practice a variety of different modalities. So reflexology, spinal reflexology, obviously Jikiden Reiki, Thai massage, deep tissue massage, Indian head massage. What else? EFT tapping. So there are lots of different modalities that can support the physical body. So what I found with my personal journey into bodywork is that people would talk and start to share. So I went and did a course, or a holistic, it was called Spiritual Life Counselling course, just because I wanted to be present with people that are starting to share. But I came away from that course and we learned lots of things, but actually at the end of it I wanted to come back to Jikiden Reiki. I wanted to come back to touch, because I remembered my first essay as a nurse was very much about, it was about touch. It was about the difference between procedural touch and therapeutic touch. So I've always been about the touch. So to explain somatic work, if you are seeking therapy and you go for talking therapy, it's a top-down process.
Yeah.
So you talk, and if you've got a good therapist, they will contain you in a safe container and delve into your past, your psychological self, and there can be transformation, there can be healing. This is a top-down approach, and we in the West, we favour that approach, don't we? That rational approach to problems.
Yeah.
That's the kind of way that we're raised in the West, the thinking brain. With somatic work, it's the other way around. It's a bottom-up process. So, I mean, we could do a quick example now.
Yeah.
Okay. So close your eyes. Close your eyes for a moment. Focus on your tandon. Feel your feet on the floor. Maybe place the tongue on the roof of your mouth and notice how your jaw softens when you do that. Take a few deep breaths all the way down into the belly, having a sense that you're breathing in energy and light, and on the out breath, allow everything to go soft. And now just notice what's happening in your body without judgment, keeping your awareness in your body. If your mind starts to wander, you can always go back to the breath. But I'd like you to notice what's happening. So for the purpose of time, I'm going to ask you to open your eyes.
I could have stayed there.
So that's just the beginning of somatic awareness, because most of us are in our thinking brains from the moment that we get up. Because I should imagine, because of our conversation and how we are, you're in a relaxed, calm state. But when you're in that state, you see the world through a certain lens, hopefully as a safe one.
Yeah.
And you're more equipped to deal with the challenges, the inevitable challenges that life brings, right? If you're in a fight or flight state or a shutdown state, then the world looks very different.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So part of my work through these different modalities, some people are literally coming because they want reflexology, they don't want anything else, or they want a massage, and that's absolutely fine. That's the service they want. But other people, we're working a little bit deeper. And the aim is to focus on that mind-body connection, helping them to, and myself, to recognize the states that we're in and how that literally defines how we move through life. So if we're in a fight or flight state of being, then my relationships are going to look different. My tasks or my goals are going to look maybe unachievable. I might be scanning the environment for things that are going to attack me, or, I'm in that fear state. So a lot of body work that I do is about helping people to regulate their nervous system by firstly creating this space as a safe container, but also being a safe space. And in order to do that, you have to be in that space yourself. So Reiki helps me to stay in that space.
Wonderful.
I hope that's
Beautiful.
a clear explanation.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's beautiful. Plus we had we had the chance to experience it, and I guess the people who will listen to it will also experience this little part of, recentering,
Yeah,
regrounding. So,
just as checking in, because how
yeah,
often do we do it? We're
mm,
not encouraged to check in this
not really.
society. And if you look at what's happening in the world now, where it's
Mm,
lots of division,
yeah,
it's needed, isn't it? This ability to stay calm and regulate our nervous systems amongst so much that's going on in the world is really important. So,
yeah,
these practices that we do individually and as a collective, they do matter, they do
yes.
matter. If you think of the world as a system, it's not a machine. Our
Mm,
little acts of love, our little things that we do, they have an effect on the whole system.
mm,
And that's not passive. Like people
yeah,
get a little bit, oh, love and light, or they get a little bit,
yeah,
they don't
yeah, yeah.
really connect with it, but it's not a passive thing. It's
Mm,
an active, powerful thing, you
yes,
know.
absolutely.
Mm.
Beautiful, beautiful. Um, I guess you kind of answered already the question I wanted to go through, but I will ask it anyway because I'm interested on how you're gonna answer to it. So, um, have you have you noticed any connections between Reiki and the other healing modalities that you use? Of course, I guess it's everything somehow connected, but is there yeah, you kind of answered by saying that Reiki really helps you be then this container for other people. Um, but in what ways might Reiki deepen your perspective maybe on other modalities or vice versa?
In the sense of presence that it brings, because
Mm,
like I said, within nursing you learn the art and science of nursing. You
yeah.
learn your skills about the body, pathology, sickness, but then you learn that not everybody presents in the same way, even if they've got the same illness, and not every
Mm,
treatment is going to be the same. But we have to engage a lot of our thinking mind when we're
mm,
looking at pathology, medicine, treatments, and that's all wonderful. But there's always an element of intuition that's involved when we're working with people.
yeah.
Not one person is the same. So we do learn the art, like I said,
Yeah.
of healing. And I feel within myself, if you're mechanical with the treatment, then the client will feel it and
Yes.
you will feel it. When we do Reiki, the fact that you're quiet, I mean, I guess I've been doing having people lay on a table or experiencing Reiki for the last 20 years. You learn about how busy your mind is. You learn about how busy their minds are. You
Mm,
start to pick up on other levels of information that's happening all the time.
yeah.
So you start to be able to become quieter and quieter and quieter through the treatments.
Mm,
And that presence that's built up through Reiki, that then translates into the physical body work. So Thai massage, in fact, the idea of Thai massage is this idea of the transmission of metta, which is the transmission of love.
yeah.
That's fundamental to their teaching because it was the original Thai massage therapists were in the temples. It was a deep thing. So
Mm,
there's a similarity there. If you go for a massage, you might go for a massage in a parlor and you come out and you think, that didn't really feel like much. And they might be mechanically amazing
yeah.
and have precise knowledge of all of the insertions of the muscles. And they might have really good knowledge, but you may not have felt the presence, which
Yeah.
is what I call the art, the art
Yeah.
of healing. And that is transformative because that essentially is what my son says, the love in your hands. That's a
Mm,
powerful thing. And when you when that transmission happens, that co-regulation happens, that connection happens, it's like you merge with that person. And it's like two clocks sticking together. They start to go together. And sometimes they might make the mistake and think that you're doing something for them, but it's not that. It's just that through you accessing that space, that spaciousness, somehow they have managed to shift into accessing that within themselves. And that, I believe, is how Reiki informs my body work, and why when people come, they have an experience that is not just mechanical. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, wonderful. Well, that really makes me want to come for a
Yeah.
for a treatment.
Because the hands, it's always flowing, right? So even when you're not really thinking, if I'm giving a massage, the energy is flowing through your hands, right? So it's
the quality of presence, this is not something that you can invent, like it's something that you live, right? And I guess it's rare to find in practitioners. Not always you can find this quality of presence, huh? So
no, and it's an ongoing thing, isn't it? That's why we have the Gokai as the mirror. It's an ongoing thing, and it's never ending. There's not an end game to it. We don't suddenly get there and that's it. It's a continuous thing while we're here in these human bodies, to connect into that sense of presence. So, yeah.
Wonderful. And I have a next question for you. This is the question that I ask to every guest on Reiki Banashi podcast. And that question is, if you had the opportunity to meet Mikao Usui Sensei today, what would you like to ask him or simply say to him?
I know exactly what I would ask him, because firstly, I would ask him if he would give me a treatment. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Absolutely.
Has anyone said that? Has anyone
No,
asked?
no one. You're the first one who said
No
that.
one
I
has said
love
that they
that.
would ask him for a treatment. Oh my gosh. Obviously, I'm quite demanding. No, I would definitely say, please give me a treatment. I'd love to experience that. And I'd love to see how he did it, how he does it.
Yeah.
Then I would ask him to share his experience on the mountain, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Just to sit with that, just to like maybe not even just to really understand it, but just to feel into his presence as he's telling that story, because we've heard it secondhand, haven't we?
Yeah.
So that's what I would ask for, a treatment and him to recount his experience.
Beautiful.
That would probably lead on to a million other questions if he want to tell me to go. But yeah, definitely I'd ask for a treatment.
Yeah, I guess through the treatment and through listening to his own story by his own words, then you would experience already his presence, which probably will remove some of the questions, because you get the answers through the presence of the person as well, right?
Yeah, no, that's very true, actually. Yeah, that would be lovely. That would be what I would like.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Leanne.
Oh, thank you. It's been lovely.
Yeah, really such an inspiring journey that you've been through, from, drawing this little road with these hands to today. Wow, this is a wonderful, rich and deep journey. And I'm so happy that you shared that with us. And yeah, maybe before we close, is there anything that we haven't touched that you feel called to share with us?
No, only that maybe somebody needs to do a Reiki Banashi with you. Have you done one?
Not yet.
So maybe we can set that up, Innina, so that we send you some questions and then you share your story. No, I think I feel happy with what I've shared. I don't feel there's anything more, only that I'm thankful and that there's still more in the journey to come, as I've obviously now got this lovely Shihan level through the Jikiden Reiki, and part of the process actually of recounting my journey with you. I think that's part of the process of becoming a teacher, right? Is to have a clearer, ongoing, I guess, narrative about your journey. It must shift and change as we mature and as we grow through our own journey as a teacher. I'm sure it will probably shift and grow some more, and because wherever we are, we look back with a new set of eyes. But it's been really nice to reflect on my early beginnings and how far I've come, and the wonderful people that have come into my life, and the lessons, the good, the bad, and the ugly, but the whole journey. So yeah, gratitude.
Thank you so much. And oh yeah, before we say goodbye, if people want to reach out to you, where can they find you? What's the best way to reach out to you? Maybe your Instagram
Yeah,
or
I think probably I'm the most active on Instagram. I used to do a little bit of TikTok, but not so much.
I understand that.
Yeah, I think when I post on Instagram, it automatically goes onto Facebook, but I do tend to put a lot of my stuff on Instagram, and that has a link to my website, Sensoma.
All right. So what is your Instagram?
What is it?
Yeah. What is it spelled like? It's Sensoma, Leanne.
That's a good question.
I will
Oh,
include anyway the link below
shall I?
if you
Yeah,
allow me
I'll
to.
send you the
So
links. I'll send you the links because I don't know it, my username offhand, because it's
I think
always
it's
open.
Sensoma, if I remember good. I
Yeah,
remember good.
Sensoma is in there, but I don't know if it's Leanne underscore Sensoma or not. I'll have to check.
We'll put
But
the
the
link
webs,
below for anyone that wants
yeah,
to.
the website is Sensoma at www.sensoma.co.uk. That's the
Okay,
website.
perfect. Perfect. I'll include also that link. And yeah, Leanne, thank you so much for this wonderful and deep conversation again. So also for your trust, and for sharing your story with us. I enjoyed it very,
Oh,
very much. And,
thanks, Innina.
we'll meet again soon.
We
I'm
will.
sure of that, but I don't know where in the world this time. Who knows?
Hopefully somewhere exotic, but probably Margate.
Who knows?
Yeah,
Oh,
lovely. Well,
Leanne,
take care,
thank you.
Innina. Thank you very
Arigatou
much.
gozaimashita.
Arigato.
Ciao. Thank you so much for listening. And again, thank you so much to Leanne. If you'd like to keep exploring these topics with me, you can find me on Instagram or on my website. And if you want to dive deeper or learn more, all the links are in the show notes. If you enjoyed what you heard, feel free to share my podcast with someone you think might be interested. Your support and your time mean so much to me. I'll see you very soon for another episode, and in the meantime, take care. Arigatou gozaimashita.